that we need to continue to stand strong to defend everybody's rights and freedoms.
Hey guys, how you doing today? Isn't it absolutely gorgeous out here today? Oh, just picturesque. No matter where I look, it's just picturesque. But this isn't about the picturesqueness of this beautiful land we call Canada. This is actually about the bleakness that we currently are experiencing in Canada. As the title says, let's talk about tariffs. All right, what is a tariff? It's basically a national tax on another nation. That's basically what it is. It's a tax. Okay. Now, the only people that should be taxing citizens are the government of... which way do I want to go? Someone's got a bridge. Are the government of a particular nation. So they can't call it a tax. They call it a tariff. Absolutely gorgeous here. Anyway, so they don't call it a tax, they call it a tariff. So let's use that word instead. Okay? When you go to work every day and you finish the week off and you get your paycheck, those are tariffs coming off your pay. The right to work in Canada, you must pay tariffs on your wages in order to work in Canada. That's exactly what it is. Okay? So Trump, as of yesterday, imposed a tariff. Well, actually, sorry. It comes in effect Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken on that. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. It comes in effect on Tuesday. But, as it stands, Trump has made good on his tariff threat. Okay? Now, I'm not sure why, and maybe it's because our government is so used to dealing with this stupid mentality that never says what they mean and always judges everybody else and never actually tells us what's actually going to happen or what is happening. They always obfuscating and, you know, just take the foreign interference thing by Justice Hogue. Look how much they manipulated what was put into that report. Okay, they always obfuscate anything other than the actual meaning of what it was for. Justice Hogue was looking into why is there foreign interference in Canada. She found foreign interference, but she says, no, there's none in Canada. And the only problem in Canada is mis and disinformation. Well, that's what your whole report is about. But this isn't what this video is about. That's just an example. One example of many obfuscations of this government. So, God, tariffs. Okay, so you're mad at Trump for following through on the warning he gave you 2 months ago that you did nothing about. Now, there were simple rules to avoiding this tariff. Simple rules that Canadians have been asking for. But of course, heaven forbid if our government should actually listen to Canadians. That's unheard of in Canada. Governments don't listen to Canadians. No. We only tell Canadians what to think. We don't take their opinions ever. Because, well, Canadians have been asking you to get control of the border. hell, ever since the passport fiasco. Or you didn't want to do your job then either. You just keep avoiding doing your job. You're hired to do a job. That's why you won. That's why you ran an election, was to get hired. But no. Heaven forbid if you actually have to do your job. So you ignored Trump for 2 months going, whoa, I'm not sure if he's serious. Well, why wouldn't you just assume he was? That's just complete crap. But it's irrelevant whether he was serious or not. His criteria to avoid it was quite simple. Crack down on your border. Canadians have been asking you, crack down on your border. So, well, people like me don't have to be homeless. We could actually afford to live in Canada. Mind you, I've actually enjoyed my new life now that I'm here. Although it is extremely financially tight for me to do this. Beyond words how financially tight it is. But either way, I love my new life. I love being able to go see this beautiful land and show it all to you. Look at this. Really? Come on. Really? This is just gorgeous. Everywhere you look. Absolutely gorgeous. So, instead of listening to Canadians who are telling you, look, you're destroying our housing industry, you're killing our jobs industry, our jobs in Canada. No. Not going to listen to that. Trump, we don't know if Trump's serious. And if he brings in tariffs, well, we're just going to counter his tariffs. Instead of actually dealing with the actual problem he was bringing to your attention that you were ignoring, but talking about in Parliament that you were dealing with, that you weren't actually dealing with. Do I need to remind you the $400 million for a housing accelerator fund that doesn't build houses? Like, that's $400 million taxpayer dollars that don't build houses. Like, it's so dumb. Anyway, so then the other part to his thing is he wants you to crack down on the drugs. You've gone out of your way to create a health crisis, an addiction crisis here in Canada by you decriminalized. There's the word I'm looking for. You decriminalized drugs. Like, I get it why you legalize marijuana. I mean, marijuana, yeah, it's no different than alcohol. And we got bars everywhere, and they've been around forever. The only reason marijuana has been banned was because political reasons way back in, I think it was the 1920s. But either way, it was one senator in the U.S. that had a whole campaign against marijuana so that the alcohol industry could gain a stronger foothold. And it was very successful. But, you know, you legalize marijuana, which, that's fair. But then you started decriminalizing all the other drugs. So what did that do? That just kind of opened up the market to Canadians going, oh, wow, look at all this. And then, well, the market started getting saturated with lots of illegal but decriminalized drugs. It's the dumbest thing ever. So then Canadians start freaking out on you going, look, man, you're creating all these homeless people who've given up on life and decided to turn their life towards drugs, and then they're making our communities unsafe because the crime that follows drugs and homelessness is following them around. And Canadians are going, yo, dude, we need to do something about this. And you're like, well, this is a health matter. It's not a criminal matter. No, it's a criminal matter. It is illegal to consume a beer on the side of the road. It should be illegal to stick a pipe in your mouth and do something illegal. There's no ifs, ands, buts about this. Consumption of illegal consumption. Public intoxication and consumption on public land is illegal in Canada. Has been forever. Every municipality, every province, every territory, everywhere. It's illegal in Canada to be drunk in public. But we're allowed to be completely fried out of our skull, licking our toenails in the middle of the street. And that's just a health crisis. That's not an addiction. It's not an illegal issue. Bullshit. Canadians have even been telling you this. Look, get control of this. Enough's enough. But no. Again, you don't listen to Canadians. So when the question comes, well, who are you listening to? Well, then, let's get back to tariffs. We'll get to that answer in a minute. Let's get back to tariffs for a minute. So according to the Trump tariffs, or according to, Doug Ford and the Trudeau government and everything, the cost of the Trump tariffs is estimated to cost approximately 500,000 jobs. I think they say it's going to put 500,000 jobs in jeopardy. Right? Okay. Because, the cost of selling goods to the U.S. is going to be more expensive. So trade routes that we currently use are going to diminish. And, you're not wrong in that one. So it's going to cost about $500,000. 500,000 jobs. Okay, 500,000 people are going to be adversely affected because of Trump's decision. And your response, not only are you ignoring Canadians, and, just give me a second here. All right, sorry about that. A little distraction. So now you're ignoring Canadians who are telling you to deal with the drug problem. And then Trump comes along and tells you, hey, deal with your drug problem or we're going to penalize you. And then you tell us it's going to cost, it's going to affect 500,000 jobs. 500,000 people out of 40 million people are going to be directly affected due to Trump's tariffs. Okay. Yeah, that really sucks, man. All you had to do was actually listen to what he was saying, believe what he was saying, do something about what he was saying. And we could have avoided all of this. Well, maybe we wouldn't have avoided it. But at least if you did that, Canadians would be a lot more supportive of what you're doing. What you are trying to do. Well, I think actually Canadians, if they knew the real truth, they wouldn't support what you're doing anyway. But that's why I'm here. I'm here to tell you exactly what you're going to do. And what the effects of your choice decision is going to be. You see, Trump is affecting 500,000 Canadians, but your effect on Canadians is going to be 40 million Canadians. All of us. Trump's affecting 500,000. Your actions affect 40 million. Okay? That's an 80 times fold of the exact same effect. 80 times what Trump is doing. 80 times worse. Because your limitations on the tariffs is, sorry, not your limitations, wrong wording here. Your effect on the tariffs is you're going to tax things coming into Canada at a same rate, 25%. Okay? But that's for everybody. Every Canadian is going to be paying that 25% that you want to charge in tariffs in retaliation to the 25% tariffs that Trump is imposing on stuff leaving Canada. Not stuff Canadians are buying, stuff Canadians are selling. We could easily rejig, well, maybe not easily, but we can rejig those 500,000 jobs to actually start creating new markets for their products. But instead of doing that, no. You're going to tax Canadians 25%. Sorry. Tariff Canadians' purchasing power by 25% to make it look like you're doing something. But you're doing something is unbelievably more detrimental to Canada than Trump. Don't you get it? And as a viewer, do you understand exactly what Trudeau has done in retaliation? He calls it retaliation to Trump. Retaliation. The Americans don't give a crap whether they sell to a 40 million population country. No, they're worried about selling to, what is it, 2 billion in China now? Another 2 billion in India? I don't know what their populations are, but it's something like that. They're worried about that market. Canada's a joke to them. It's like trading with Nicaragua or something to them. We're nothing. We're nothing on the global scale because our population is so small. Our productivity is restrained because of our population levels. And your answer to that is open the borders. The one thing Trump has warned you against. You know, have controlled immigration. That's cool. But opening the borders wide open, inviting people that have performed extreme acts into our country? Nah. You're an idiot. And then your response to this is you are going to tax Canadians 25% on anything they buy from the American market, which is 351 million people. Approximately. Last time I checked, 351. Could be a little more, a little less, whatever. 350 million people. This is a huge market, okay, of products that Canadians buy. Okay? You went and bought an orange anytime recently, there's a very good chance it came from California or from Florida. I don't know if those are part of the 155 billion in tariffs or whatever, but it's the same concept. Last time it was Harley Davidson motorcycles and Heinz ketchup. Oh yes, let's bring up the Heinz ketchup one. That's funny. You know, last time with the 10% tariff, Trudeau retaliated with 10% tariffs. He put it on Heinz ketchup. Said, wow, this American company doesn't even make ketchup here in Canada. So Heinz retaliation was, oh, okay, oh God, there's somebody coming. I'm going to pause. I'll talk to you in a minute. Sorry about that. Had to let them get by. So Heinz ketchup decided, okay, they called your bluff. And what did they do? They shut down their farms and their processing plant in Leamington, Ontario. French's had to come in and buy it up at a discounted price, of course, and start creating ketchup. So then the big craze was, oh, let's buy French's. Well, why did we tariff Heinz in the first place? They were using Canadian tomatoes and creating ketchup in Canada. But no, your infinite wisdom is just infinite stupidity. So, back to this tariff thing. Okay, so you're going to implement a 25% tariff on every Canadian who wishes to purchase anything from the United States. You think maybe you've been instigating this all along? You think maybe this is part of the plan? Part of the idea on implementing future plans? Get Canadians riled up against Trump without them understanding the ramifications of your actions. Not their actions, not his actions, yours. You just spin them around in circles until they decide. Actually, I'm going to start making my way back down because this is almost over. It's going to be like a 30-minute video. It's supposed to be just a little walk and talk. You're going to spin them around and spin them around until they hate Trump. And they're back to true Canadian and try and spin it so that, you know, Polyev is just like Trump, da da da. Just like Polyev's playing, just like Trudeau with Carney. But let's talk about that for a minute. Why would you need to do that? Not only to get your poll numbers up, but you have another reason to have these tariffs implemented. And Carney kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit, discussing things. And Jagmeet also let the cat out of the bag a bit. And sounds like Jagmeet's pressuring you to do this, but I think it's more Jagmeet knows what the plan is and is speaking a little too quick. Hence why he's got a new babysitter. Julian. Peter Julian, that's it. So, why would you do that? You see, you have a plan for Canadians, to help Canadians through these troubling times. Oh, such troubling times. Housing issues, tariffs. Oh my gosh, the world is just on fire. Climate change. You gotta save us. You gotta create a situation where Canadians need you. Please, 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 come save us. Poor useless Canadians don't know how to do anything for ourselves. No, you're an idiot. You're just manipulating Canadians to believe that situation. Let me tell you what exactly you plan on doing. Actually, I've already mentioned it before in a previous video, and that this is part of your re-election platform. Here we go. So, your re-election plan, not Trudeau. Trudeau is irrelevant. Trudeau's a joke. But Trudeau laying the groundwork for Carney and the Liberal Party. And the goal here is UBI. Canadians need to be in a state of desperation beyond belief, so they will be begging for a universal basic income. And this is your goal, a universal basic income. Whose idea would that be? Let's think here. You're fighting against Trump, a foreign nation taxing Canadians by taxing Canadians purchasing things from that foreign nation. Okay, but so it's not the U.S. So is this a Canadian-only approach? Or did you just pick up the instruction booklet from the WEF that they gave you a couple years ago talking about UBI? And now you're seeing a moment where you can actually implement it. The pandemic was a test period just to see if you could do it. And look what happened. You created more debt in Canada than every prime minister before you in total together. Canadians are pretty pissed about that. You know? In the moment, you created a moment where we required to depend on you by locking us down, keeping us out of our jobs, so we couldn't pay our bills, mortgages, going to foreclosures, all this jazz. So what did you do? Look, guys, the government's here to save you. Let's give you $2,000 a month, no questions asked. That was a test run. Now you want to come in with the full thing. So let's create a situation with the U.S. and create a financial hardship for Canadians so that they come begging the federal government again, come save us. We don't need your saving. We're Canadians. We are fully capable of dealing with Trump, dealing with these tariffs, dealing with these financial woes when you get the hell out of the way. Your manipulation of Canadians is getting a little too extreme these days. And they're not even Canadian ideals. Canadians aren't looking for this. Well, I mean, sure, there's some people that are seeing this as, oh, look, man, I'm going to make some money. But generally, those people are the people that you decriminalized. That's what you're after. This is what you're creating. You create a situation where people are so demoralized in Canada that they go to drugs. Now that they're hooked on drugs and then crime, everything, their world is surrounded with crime and desperation, that they come crawling to you, please save me. But the average Canadian are like, don't save me, get the hell out of my way. This is manipulation, 100%. Whether Trump knew he was being manipulated or not, your whole approach to Trump and his demand for his citizens, demand of Canada for his own citizens, was not extreme. It was actually very reasonable. But you made it an extreme case so that Canadians became desperate and required saving, even though we still don't need saving. I still insist on this. We do not need saving. But this plan didn't come from Canada. This plan didn't come from Canadians. No, this plan came from Europe. This plan came from New York. But primarily, it came from Davos. Isn't the timing ironic that you prorogue Parliament and announce your resignation right at the most critical time of Canadians need a prime minister and a strong leadership and a government that's functional? Speaking of that, government that's functional. How the hell are you going to implement these tariffs? That requires parliamentary approval. Is that why you've been swinging Jagmeet? Is that why Jagmeet knows the plan? Interesting. No one's called me, he says. Or he's going to call all the opposition leaders. Well, it seems like Jagmeet knows the plan. And is part of the plan. It's interesting. Anyway, something just passed my brain just now. Where was I? All these plans are coming from a world order that is a world order. That's kind of cliche, and I know people call it tinfoil hat or whatever they want to call it. I don't know, conspiracy theorist or whatever. But let's be realistic. These plans for diversity that came from WEF, gender neutral stuff that came from the WEF. Didn't come from Canadians. Canadians don't give a damn what you do in your bedroom. Canadians don't care what your heritage is. It's, can you do the job? We don't care what your gender, what your color is. Just, we need a job done. Can you do the job? All right, do the job. You're hired to do the job. You can't do the job, you're not hired. But no, we have to change it up. And that came from the WEF, WHO, our health. You sold out our health authority to the WHO. All these different organizations, or all these different policies and plans are not coming from Canada. So why should Canadians pay your tariff on them? Because the WEF and the world, or the UN and all them, WHO and all these other super globalist ideals, creating policies in our country that Canadians don't want, that Canadians didn't ask for. Let's get to tariffs again. Let's get back to the topic at hand. Tariffs. You talk about these tariffs that Trump's imposing. 25%. Right? Carbon tax. Canada produces 2%, less than 2%, of the world's carbon. But we pay a tariff at the fuel pump. This is just gas. This doesn't include home heating or anything. Home heating's on top of this. We currently pay the consumer side of things an 11% tariff, and then we pay the industrial side of things, which is another 15%. So that's 26% tariff. The Canadians are paying, I think it's 16%. I don't know, it's 15 or 16% the industrial tariff, or sorry, carbon tax is. It works out to be. It's so much a ton, but it's actually, if you work it out percentage-wise, it works out to about, I do believe it's, is it 15%? Don't quote me on the exact number. It's right in that ballpark somewhere. So, Canadians are paying 10% consumer plus 15% industrial carbon tax. That's a tariff. You're already charging Canadians 25% tariff. Now you're going to charge them another 25% tariff on anything they purchase from the United States. But if we go down to the dollar store and it's full of Chinese goods, no tariff on those. Who's our ally in this world? Who's Canada's number one trading partner and number one ally in the entire world? It's our big brother, the United States. You say Trump is trying to disrupt world order. Well, no, you're disrupting Canadian order. Because Canadian order is working alongside our big brother, helping them to strive better. Canadians used to be on par with America. Okay? We used to do really well. And when we were on par with them, Americans were doing great, Canadians were doing great, everybody was doing great. But no, you've gotten into this tip for tat BS tax war with Trump. And the only people paying the price are the Canadians. And Canadians didn't ask for this. This didn't come from Canadians. This came from a world organization on climate change. Canada produces less than 2% of the world's carbon, yet we're paying 25% tariff on it. No one else is. You complain about Trump's 25% tariff. What about the 25% tariff you're already charging us? This is complete ludicrous. So, the reason you need that 25%, and Carney's talking about removing the rebate thing, and the reason you need to charge that 25% to American goods coming into Canada, plus the carbon tax, is to cover the UBI. Create the desperation, generate the revenues, buy off the Canadians, force them into slavery, servitude to the federal government. This is a slave movement. This isn't about Canadians' free will. This is about enslaving Canadians to the government, insisting that they cannot deviate, because to refuse the UBI means desolation, poverty, and death. Welcome to the Fringe. Welcome to the Fringe.